Hi there, my name is Doris Jeanne MacKinnon, and I'm so pleased to have a few moments to share with you just briefly about my latest book entitled, in her words, Mary Rose Delorme-Smith, Pioneer, Homesteader, Métis Matriarch. This is the fourth book in which I explored Mary Rose's life, but this book I would say is the culmination of all of those, and I'm so excited because in this book what I was able to do is really just include larger excerpts of her story in her words, and I introduce those excerpts just to kind of put historical context to when she was writing. Mary Rose was born in 1860, and it's very unusual for us to have the words of a Métis woman who was born in 1860. And Mary Rose left numerous documents at a public archive because I believe that her and her family wanted people to know more about her story, and they had been in the archives for a good 50 years before I actually engaged with them, and really from the first moment I felt that her story needed to be shared more widely. And so that's been my journey over about 10 years of kind of walking alongside Mary Rose's words. They were in a public archive, so I was free to use those documents and publish, based on those documents. But I wanted to go further than that. I wanted to seek out members of her family to ensure that they were wanting this story shared. And they were. Some family members had done tremendous research and they shared their material as well. They have walked alongside me and encouraged me to continue to share those words. So I've been very, very honored to share the stories of Mary Rose, and we were so pleased, her family and I, when Mary Rose was recognized as a person of national historic significance by Parks Canada. And that really spoke to the importance of her story and getting that story out as a matriarch, a leader in her community, and keeper of the culture, really, and a person who passed her culture on to her children, grandchildren. Mary Rose had 17 children. She was married at the age of 16 to a Robin whiskey trader who was older than her, about 17 years older, and they settled in the Pincher Creek area. And she recognized she was living in historic times when the fur trade transitioned to a more sedentary, agriculturally based economy, and she wanted to record those happenings in her community. And so I was so very fortunate when I came across her story in the archives. I believe she wanted to have her stories published. She was never able to. It would have been difficult for a Métis woman writing in the early 1900s to have her writings published. So I was fortunate enough to walk alongside and to share those stories. And her words, the way the documents were left, make them sometimes challenging to engage with. And that's why it was important to have some of those introductions, those editorial introductions, to put them into the historical context so that people could gain the most from them. So I hope that as you engage with this new book, that it raises questions for you and you want to learn more about other Métis women and their voices. In fact, based on my work, I felt that there were so many more stories to be told. History books and books of this sort are never closed books, because what they do is we want them to inspire discussion, questions, conversation. And so that's really where I see the value in this book, is not only sharing Mary Rose's story, but opening opportunities for other stories to be shared that are so very important that we haven't heard about to this day. Thank you.